The Chairman, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, protocols observed. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for this opportunity to reflect on the NESG journey. The Chairman has actually kicked it off by acknowledging those that founded the NESG, but I want to add to that we also not just acknowledge them, a lot of those who were part of that whole process have passed on. May their souls rest in peace. Let me also acknowledge in this audience members of my team. I know they are seated somewhere. I haven't seen them. Thank you for coming. Taking on this responsibility of reflecting was a difficult one. Difficult because there's so much to think about. Difficult because of the short time frame that I had to prepare for this speech. Difficult because how do I balance the good with the aspirations that we had without not being grateful for all that we've achieved. I hope by the time I'm done, in the next 30 minutes, I will have done justice to that. Let me also acknowledge His Executive Governor, Lagos State, or the Governor of Lagos State. Thank you for all that you do in Lagos. And thank you for all you do for the larger country. Some may not know what you do, but I think that's actually one of the challenges that we have. We're in a very complex environment. And in that complexity, to actually show results isn't easy. And that's why the balance of what we've achieved and achieving that is really so important. For me personally, because this is a personal story, it's been a long journey. I recall, where was I in 1993? Somebody said it was 10. I was 31. And I happened to work in Arthur Andersen, which is where I caught my first full professional career. I did start in Akintola Williams, but I moved to Arthur Andersen and worked with an incredible set of leaders. Dick Kramer, Dotun Suleiman, Toyin Muniz, Shea Bakersteth. And I tell leaders today that the greatest gift I believe we can give is to encourage our younger ones. No matter what we are going through, no matter what we hope to achieve, if we don't plant in our younger ones the seeds of what it takes and give them that opportunity to be themselves, it's going to be tough to even have a semblance of hope. And I'd like to acknowledge my former bosses for that. This morning, I'd like to share with you what also gives me hope as I talk about what we have achieved. One of our staff is 24 years old, and I asked his permission to read what I'm about to read to the whole audience, because I feel that no matter what I'm going to say, it's those little acts that we all make in our various spheres that will collectively give us the energy to achieve the accelerated economic vision that the dean of the business school or the dean of the strategy team talked about. And he just sent me a text. I'll be leaving for Ibadan tomorrow morning. My dad had surgery earlier on in the year, and now also with the passing of his dad, I feel it necessary to just go and see how he is, even though I know he is fine. I'll be gone for a week. He lays out what will be done, and he ends with, in my absence, I will make sure nothing is lacking. Why does this give me hope? Before I go to that, let me just reflect on the environment of the 30 years and what has changed and what I'll call are the symbols of economic change. I can tell you, driving from Ikoyi to Ekpe at nearly 2 a.m. this morning, because my flight of 7:25 was delayed, and I left past 12. So that's another story. This mass between Ikoyi and Ekpe has significantly changed. That's not how it was at that time. A lot more economic activity, the whole place is built up. Just imagine that it was all farmland. For those who were 11, those who were not born, it's difficult to imagine. So sometimes when we say, have things changed? Yes, things have changed. And the Lekki story is one example. The other time I came to Lagos, I was to go to Akonwojo to visit. There was an orphanage I needed to visit there, and I was shocked. The roads that had opened up. And I remember in those days, my mom used to have a farm, to supplement her civil service trust, salary. I would go, far into the bush. And believe me, Lekki is just a joke when you think of what has happened in that trajectory. There's the fintech explosion. We didn't have fintechs. We have at least 10, and perhaps counting, women managing directors of major banking institutions. We have Airpeace now flying to United Kingdom. But I must say it was Airpeace that delayed yesterday on this. So much as we acknowledge that, there's still work to be done. This is my first time of stepping into the Lagos Business School and the Pan-Atlantic University. And I remember in those days, near my family home, I'm a Surulere person. Near my family, all Surulere people. So when we talk about the middle class, here we are. Just down the road, walking distance, there was a place, I think it was called Helms Bridge. And there was this room where the seeds of Lagos Business School started. Dick will come with Dr. Merino and co. Then it was just sitting down in a room and thinking about big dreams. We're sitting now in this hall at an amazing facility, amazing institution that was built by the collective will of a group of people who saw, executed, and have achieved. But more importantly, using the Lagos Business School as an example,